Thank you to our patrons for helping make this podcast possible.
Welcome back to Void FM. It's your boys, Rav and Kill Bill, the rapper, in the building. What's up, yo?
Wowie, wowie, wowie.
How we feeling today, Bill? What's going on?
Man, what a weekend we had, huh?
Yeah, it's been an interesting time.
Indeed. No, but I am well. Just been kind of enamored with all of the goings on in current rap music right now. You know, how are you doing? Tell me everything.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it too. As just like from an entertainment standpoint, it's been very much satisfying. You know, it's been so entertaining. And at first, I thought, you know, we don't really talk about current events that much on the podcast, but this felt like, hey, this is kind of like a hip hop event, as it were, you know, or at least I would say potentially a momentous or historic time for hip hop's timeline. We don't usually talk about current events, but this feels special enough to definitely to talk about. In fact, we recorded a whole nother episode that was supposed to come out the day that this episode comes out. This is before I got a haircut. So we decided to instead, last minute, record an episode that will make more sense for what's going on right now so that we can comment on it. I saw that people wanted to know our thoughts on what's going on. And then instead release the other episode the following week. So
Yeah, because I think this is quite a interesting time. I mean, like just leading up, and for people who don't know what we're talking about, if you live under a rock, we are currently talking about the Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef that has reached a fevered pitch in a way that I did not anticipate over the course of the weekend. That I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't want to like jump into it too fast because like there's a bit of context and stuff that we can talk about because I feel like we've never really talked about this kind of thing on the podcast before. But like Friday night when I was streaming is when he dropped the Meet the Grams, when Kendrick dropped the Meet the Grams diss, and I've been in a fugue state ever since. I've never heard something that made me feel the way that song made me feel in the moment. And I felt like I needed a shower. I felt like I never want to listen to it again, but I listened to it like 12 more times.
I disagreed with that. I saw like a tweet that popped off that was like, oh, it's one of those songs that you don't replay. And it's like, that's such bullshit. It's a good ass beat.
It's good. It's good as fuck. But I will say it feels to me personally like the equivalent of like watching like a very like dark or heavy movie, you know, but I listened to it after it came out. I had dreams that night about this diss. Like I went to bed thinking about it, dreamed about it, and the first thing I did when I woke up was listen to the song again. I was that captivated by what was going on.
Yeah.
I knew that it was going to be crazy because like I thought Euphoria was really dope. And I was like, okay, he's going in on it, but it all felt like a lot of like warning shots. And then we get to this and it happened on stream because he dropped 6:16 a.m. or whatever. Is that what it is? 6 a.m. Is that what it is? The name of the song?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So he dropped it that day. Then everyone's like, oh yeah, Drake dropped. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll have to check that out. But I wasn't like rushing to it. And then somebody in stream was like, yeah, Dot just dropped. Kendrick just dropped. And I was like, yeah, I know. I listened to it earlier. And they're like, no, like just now. And I was like, what the fuck?
Let's back it up a bit.
Yeah, let's back it up. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, we need to give some context and maybe go a little further back in the timeline. Let's cover that on today's episode as up to date as we can. This recording is taking place on the 6th of May. So if something happens between now and the day that we put this episode out, of course, we aren't able to account for it. We are clairvoyant, but we don't like to use our powers.
Yeah.
We use it for other stuff. So,
of course. Yeah, never for evil.
No. You are now tuning in to Void FM.
4050 deep, why don't you turn around and let's Let this interview begin. Tell me what the field of you looks like.
Okay, so where does this start and who are the people involved? Maybe we should start there.
That is a good. I mean, I feel like most people who listen to this know who these people are, but we could break it down a little bit. So I guess it really all started with the Kendrick verse on Like That, the Future and Metro Boomin song.
I would still not just assume that everyone knows who Kendrick and Drake are. I would give like a brief introduction to who these people are that
Okay.
are involved in this, because I don't think as many people know about Kendrick as you think do.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Well, Kendrick Lamar is, in my opinion, one of the best living rappers of all time. You know, he's released a lot of music. He used to be on Top Dog Entertainment, TDE, back in the day, but now he's on his own imprint, PG Lang. He's released such classics as Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, and even Mr. Morale, I think was really good. I think a lot of people like put him in the same kind of categories, like one of the, I don't like using the word lyrical, but I feel like that's like a good way to describe
Conscious?
it. I guess conscious, maybe.
I'd say conscious more so than lyrical.
Yeah.
I think lyrical too, but I think conscious is more at the core of who Kendrick Lamar is.
Yeah, I
It's just a
think
corny term. We associate it with corny
Yes.
rappers, and Kendrick is not that.
No, yeah, I don't think that Kendrick has a corny bone in his body, but I think that he does do stuff
I
that's
disagree.
very.
I think he has some corny bones in his
Well,
body.
okay, well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He's definitely. I wouldn't describe him as corny as my first thing that I think of.
Right, exactly.
But it's very like meant to be broken down music. Like I think that it's like you're supposed to think about it and sit on it, and that is kind of the point of it to me is the fun of it. I mean, obviously I think it sounds good, but a lot of the fun lies in like, well, what do you think like this was about? Or like it kind of puts you in a different perspective sometimes on certain issues or whatever. And I would say that, and this is a thing that we've talked about, I think he's kind of the antithesis of what Drake's whole like modus operandi is. I think that Drake's whole MO is very pop centric, whereas Kendrick doesn't seem to be very like materialistic at all. Very like kind of like just a guy. Not, I wouldn't say like an average Joe or something, but a thinking man's rapper would be, I guess, a good way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know how if I agree with all those characterizations, but when comparing him to Drake, for sure, he is someone who is a lot more closer in the way that he presents himself to the average person than someone like Drake, who presents himself in a way that's like, okay, yeah, he is Elvis. He is this out of reach individual.
Yeah.
Even though they both kind of are and aren't, right? It's just that, yes, I think what's interesting is these are two very successful artists. Drake is someone who is very successful in terms of all the records that he holds. I'm not even talking about songs. I'm talking about records in terms of streams and sales and things of that nature throughout his 15 or so year reign. He's been around for a very long time. Kendrick a little bit less long than him. I would say closer to like a dozen years in terms of like the industry, the forefront, and they're sort of diametrically opposed ideologically.
I would say it like that, yeah.
Drake being more a representation of, I think capitalism and excessive sort of everything, everything in excess, money in excess, sex in excess, possessions in excess, achievements in excess. And then Kendrick is someone who's also very successful, but differently. He is someone who has a ton of Grammys, like a gazillion Grammys, a Pulitzer Prize holder, the only hip hop artist, I believe so, to hold that prestige. But they're both very successful artists. They're both very rich men. But what Kendrick endeavors to accomplish with his music is very different to what Drake is. And to me, that is very interesting. I feel like a lot of people have been underplaying that part of this whole conflict. To me, it is reminiscent, and I've told you this before. It kind of reminds me of the late 2000s 50 Cent versus Kanye album sales beef slash marketing scheme that happened when 50 Cent was about to release Curtis. And at this point, 50 Cent was it. He was the most poppin' dude for a few years consistently, with Get Rich or Die Trying being incredibly successful. And then the follow-up Project Massacre, although less so, still very, very successful. And on the other side, you had Kanye West, who had released College Dropout and Late Registration, both successful artists, especially in terms of like critical acclaim, but he didn't feel as ever present as 50 Cent did until they faced off with those records. And what had happened was, I feel like, even though it was just like a marketing ploy to boost sales for the both of them, what I think ended up happening is that Kanye, someone who at the time was more like, oh, this weird person who's more emotional, more in touch with their feelings, and more kind of creative and weird, this person ended up outselling the king of gangster rap at the time. And gangster rap was kind of like the dominant force in hip hop culture at the time. So it signaled a shift in the culture. And I think it brought about people like Kid Cudi and Drake into the fold during that period, you know, like in terms of his influence. From that point, I feel like the culture has changed quite significantly. It went in a very different direction. And I feel like here's an opportunity for something like that to potentially maybe happen again, where these two people who are very, again, ideologically opposed are going at one another. If there is some sort of way that either one of them comes out of this very scathed, or like, you know, their careers get heavily impacted by this, culture could change along with that outcome. Does that make sense? Not to say like to put all of the significance of the future on this one event, but I do feel like it's significant enough. It would be indicative, I think, of a change of the guard.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
some sort of way.
I think you're definitely onto something with that. And the reason why I think you're onto something with that is because this isn't the first time Drake has been in beef, right? This isn't the first time that he has like debated, well, I guess, pretty much just lost a beef because, you know, Pusha T happened. But
Sure.
I feel like that inherently was different in that it was a similar kind of situation where like Pusha was known as like a kind of like a rapper's rapper for a lot of people. And they was like, oh yeah, he's going to kill Drake. And then he was just like, hey, you're hiding a child. And they had this big like Telemundo moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, it didn't really seem to have like a really long lasting impact on him, or even really an impact beyond just the immediate. Whereas like, this has been, if I look at my timeline on Twitter, it's just Kendrick Drake, Pokemon thing, Kendrick Drake. It's like nothing but like all of my like the stuff that's naturally being like forced into my For You page is just like real life. Everyone's talking about it. People that don't give a fuck about rap are talking about it. Like it's a huge thing. Like this is like beyond just like, oh, this is a diss song and this guy really got owned. Like this is like sparking a bunch of different topics that are over a wide range of things. It's
a cultural event akin to Pokemon Go coming out, where it got everyone involved in this thing, in this conversation, where just everyone's watching. And it's kind of playing out in real time, right? As we will go into it and we will cover the timeline of the records that came out. Because a lot of songs have come out of this conflict so far. Yeah.
I mean, do we want to just start from
the
beginning with
let's quickly address when their beef started and then maybe jump into the first song.
So I guess their beef started with, well, I don't know where their actual personal beef started, but the public beef started with Future and Metro Boomin put out a song called Like That, which featured Kendrick Lamar on it. And there were a few things that were said in it, but the biggest ones that I noticed were he said, fuck a big three. There's just big me, which is, for a lot of people, they look at Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole,
because
and
J.
Drake.
Cole said this. Didn't J. Cole say it's the big three?
Oh yeah, I guess so. So J. Cole said, I don't listen enough J. Cole to even tell you that.
I think J. Cole made the claim that there's the big three.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Him, Drake, and Kendrick responded to that saying that there is no big three. What we do is not the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
On the surface, our occupation by name is the same thing.
Yeah.
But we are not the same. We're not the same thing.
So then, and this is going to deviate a little bit. J. Cole jumped in and then immediately bowed out like a day after, but he dissed Kendrick on a song and then went on stage and was like, hey, I'm taking the song down. I don't want a part of this. This feels lame to me. And then he just kind of like left. Like he was like, I'm done with that.
Which later on people retroactively will, at first people clowned on him, but later on would sort of say, hey, maybe it was a smart decision bowing out. I'm of the opinion he bowed out because not of like good foresight, but because he was otherwise going to receive more backlash for the transphobic ass bars. Transphobic comma ass bars.
Yeah. He had a few of those in there.
In that song, and I think him bowing out was kind of almost like a good way for him to just like bow out from public scrutiny for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
So I still think that shit was corny as fuck, and also he should have never jumped in the first place. But yes, Also just a quick note, when I said the Kendrick and Drake beef started, I meant they've been beefing for over a decade now. This beef goes back to a while back. They did at one point work together. Famously, Drake was on Poetic Justice, of course, right? And then the 2 Chainz song, I love Bad, that's my problem. that's my problem.
Yeah.
After a short while, they stopped working together, and a lot of bars were exchanged that were subliminal, But I think for the most part, if you were paying attention, like on King Kunta and stuff like that, you can kind of pinpoint who they're talking about. When Pusha dissed Drake, I think Kendrick tweeted something along the lines of like, "Tell Push I feel the same way." So there's been little breadcrumbs of like some sort of conflict existing or them disliking each other for many years, and also people bring them up in a conversation. Who would win in a fight, or who's better, Drake or Kendrick, all the time. So,
for sure. Yeah.
This has sort of existed as a fantasy, even beef for people for a very long time. But there's definitely been something there behind the curtains that we're not fully aware of.
100%. I mean, like at best, tensions. I think that there's definitely been a tension there that for the longest time, I always thought that it was just kind of in a competitive way. Recent events would make me think otherwise in certain aspects. Definitely when I first heard, like, for example, like King Kunta and him having a bar about ghostwriters and all this other stuff, I thought it was almost more like a haha, gotcha moment. And it's not really super serious.
Right.
But as it's played out, it would appear that it was a deep, perhaps hatred was there that, maybe we haven't really like uncovered the true understanding of, but like, or maybe we have. The first part of this conversation, I would say, would be with Like That. Will be the first time that like this is what sparked everything, Kendrick having that. And it felt to me almost like a Control verse, like, because, he had the Control song where he like dissed everybody. And to me, I was just like, oh, it's like just friendly competition kind of thing. That's where my head was at when I first heard that. Same. So then J. Cole comes out and he disses Kendrick and then bows out immediately afterwards. I feel like he just didn't want to be a part. Like, I think it was partially what you were saying, trying to get out of scrutiny, but I also feel like he just didn't want to fucking do it. It's
also a bad look for him because ideological, at least how he presents himself, who he is as a brand, him getting involved in the way that he did went against who he preaches to be, you know? So I do think
Yes.
there's also a conflict there.
For sure. I think that do I think that it was a bad move that he dropped out? I mean, yeah, it looked really bad. I think mostly it's like him getting involved in the first place was kind of dumb. But that's just me. Anyway, so enough about J. Cole, seeing as no one gives a fuck about him in this situation.
AKA J. Fold.
You know, yeah. So then Drake. Wait, hold on. Sorry, my brain just shut off. Did Drake drop another thing? He dropped something before Euphoria, right? Am I tripping? Is it that?
Euphoria might have been the first one. No, am I tripping?
No, because we had Like That, and then he dropped something, and then he dropped two. He dropped one that was him rapping, and then one that was the Tupac verse rapping, right? Push-ups. He did push-ups.
Push-ups. That's right.
Okay, so he drops push-ups, and in this diss, he's very directly talking to Kendrick Lamar in the song. And he says a bunch of things in it. He has a few bars in here, such as "Ain't no big three. Oh, you ain't in no big three. SZA got you wiped down. Travis got you wiped down. Savage got you wiped down. Like your label boy, you in a scope right now. You gonna feel the aftermath of what I write down." Let's see. Hold on.
But most of the jokes were basically, haha, you're short. The cover was like a size 7 label, right? For shoes, I think.
Yeah, basically saying that he has tiny feet because he's a small man, and that was the thing, you know. He had a whole bunch of short jokes and stuff like that, but it didn't really seem, there was nothing in it
too scathing
that was super personal.
I mean, there was like a claim that, you know, well, first of all, he called it push-ups because, you know, of that video that Kendrick posted either earlier this year or last year of him like doing push-ups in the parking lot of somewhere. And he said, drop and give me 50, which plays into that video, but also saying like, give me 50 as in give me 50%, you know, or like, that's how I at least interpreted it, you know, from saying that Kendrick didn't own his music.
I see what you're saying about the thing with Top Dog. Yeah, he kept talking about Top.
Yeah.
On it. Yeah. Which I think was a kind of a weird angle to take, seeing as he just left TDE and he's got his own, you know, he's got PG Lang now, where he definitely owns all of that. You know what I mean? To me, it feels a little silly, but you know, that certainly is an angle.
Also, it's an angle where it's like, that's literally like, I'm richer than you. I'm a wealthier millionaire than you are as a millionaire, which to me is boring, but to a lot of boys, they were like, oh yeah, that's hard. Hell yeah. I'd love to hear when he talks like that. God, he sounds so hard when he talks like that.
He sounds hot.
God, he's just, I love Drake, you know? So that comes out and people are like, oh, whoa, yabba dabba doo, right?
Yabba dabba doo yow is what they said. That was all over the timeline. Yabba dabba doo yow.
And then eventually, then I think we just sit, right, for like a week or two, just going like, is Kendrick even gonna respond? And people speculating, and then Kendrick dropping a joint. What was it called?
Wait. There was another part of this.
Go ahead.
There was another part of this that we're missing.
Correct me.
So he did the drop and give me 50 and had a whole bunch of bars, you know, kind of just felt like somewhat playful, but I'm talking down to you. Not playful, but you know what I mean? Like there wasn't like a lot of seriousness in it. It was kind of like, this dude's a clown. He doesn't own all of his music. Also, look at him. He's tiny, like all this other stuff. Okay. So then there was a little, like a day or two, I'm wanting to say. Let me actually check on the actual date on this because I have it right here. So Push-Ups was April 13th, and then there was no response by April 19th, where Drake dropped another one. Well, not actually dropped, it leaked. Doing the air quotes right now like an asshole. Leaked. It has since been deleted for reasons, but he's dropped Tailor-Made Freestyle, which
I forgot about that.
Which is, in my opinion, the lowest point of this entire beef. Because Push-Ups, when I heard Push-Ups, I was like, okay, this is like fun. You know, I don't agree with a lot of these points, but it sounds hard and it's like cool for music. Yeah, cool.
I mean,
you know,
the Drake's Ghostwriters did a good job.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And the beat's pretty hard and all this other stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. So then he puts out a tailor-made freestyle, which utilizes an AI voice for Tupac's voice in AI, and also Snoop. And the thing that's funny about it is it's like Tupac is talking to Kendrick and giving him like advice and trying to like get him through this beef. As if he's like, it's the West Coast talking to him, you know, the ghost of the West Coast. And the
I
funniest
didn't listen
part,
to that song, so this is me hearing some of this for the first time. I refuse to listen to
it's really bad. It's one thing that's bad about it, in my opinion, is like you can tell that it's Drake rapping it and then they put the AI over it. So imagine like Tupac's voice via AI with the weird artifact thing
with
that
Drake's
happens
cadence.
with Drake's cadence. But
Mhm.
the funniest part about it is he has a bar and it says like, talk about him liking young girls. I heard it on the Budden podcast. It must be true. Which the funniest part about that is the idea that if Tupac was alive, that he would listen to the Joe Budden podcast.
Very
That shit
funny.
is so funny to me. Like,
That is
what the
very
fuck?
funny. Yeah.
Okay. So he's got that. So he's basically trying to Eminem him, trying to like, at the end of 8 Mile, you know, say yeah, he did take my girl, and yeah, I am white, and yeah, I am broke. But it's hard to do that when it's like pedophile allegations.
Yeah.
But he tried it, and he also did the Snoop Dogg voice, and then he rapped from his own voice at the end of it. This is the only one of these so far that I have thought like this is very bad.
This is one
Just
of two for me.
The AI, well, I mean, as of yet, okay, so the AI voice thing, inherently I'm so like already against that, and it also feels dumb. And also he got threatened by the Tupac estate a little bit after some time had passed. They were giving him a cease and desist for this song because they were like, hey, you can't just fucking do that. You can't like, that's like kind of spitting on his grave a little bit.
Yeah, and they even said, especially like to do that in this kind of way and against Kendrick, someone who has been an active supporter and friend of the estate,
Yeah.
you know, it felt like incredibly disrespectful. And then Drake in a later diss would then say like, oh, you know, you begged the Shakur estate to send that cease and desist, you know, like you begged them to do it, which is a hilarious implication that like that the Shakur estate would look at what Drake did and would think like, no, that's cool. We're actually not opposed to that unless Drake asks us, or unless Kendrick asks us to take it down.
Yeah.
Which is pure code, but again, unless you're a child and you're following this, unless you're a child, you're going to see that like Drake is just sort of resorting to, you know, it almost seems like not serious, you know, still at this point.
Yeah. Another thing that he talked about in this diss, which was a kind of funny point I wanted to say, is he was implying that Kendrick wasn't releasing the diss because Taylor Swift was putting out her Tortured Poets Department album that week, and or you know, that 2 weeks or that time period or whatever, and that he was comparing her to his new top dog, who he has to ask permission for before he drops the album. And
Drake's whole angle is basically emasculating Kendrick this entire time. It's always
whole time, yes.
The entire time, from the beginning to the end, which is, again, if you're someone who's followed Drake and his journey, which I have since the 2000s, right? You would know how funny and ironic that is, given who he actually is, given who he was before he underwent some transformations. I would say. I don't know how else to put it in a way
he
that
grew
doesn't
a beard.
He grew a beard. He got ab implants. He changed his whole sort of presentation, the way he appears. For many, many years, it was a joke, and I would say it sort of still is, like that Drake was always used as a comparison point for like the softest man, or sometimes softest person. You know, Drake, the type of dude, insert here, the the most perhaps wholesome and soft and bubbly thing.
Yeah, the
a person could
Drake the
ever
type.
do.
My favorite is the Drake the type of dude to smell a pie in a windowsill and float over to it and go
Yeah.
like, "What do we have here? Don't
Yeah,
mind if
yeah,
I
yeah,
do."
yeah. Exactly.
Like, yeah, I feel like that was that's the thing, and I understand the idea of like not liking that. But I feel like if he was like truly like secure with himself as a person, that he could like live in that, and he's like the most successful artist in the world right now,
Yeah,
or
but he's
at
not
least
secure.
rapper.
That you hit
you
the
know?
nail on the head, I feel like that
Yeah.
shit got to him.
Yeah, and I think that seems to be a recurring theme that you'll see a lot in this beef and just his career. Is that he seems to be a pretty deeply insecure guy. I mean, I don't know the guy, but he's definitely projecting that, and that's unfortunate. You know what I mean? It's to think to be the number one selling, like most successful rapper right now by a lot. You know what I mean? Like, and to be that deeply insecure is kind of a crazy thought to me. But, then again, I'm not him. But yeah, so that happens. Then we get to the fun stuff. So then a little bit of time passed. Let me look at the dates. Let me get everything right.
We haven't
here.
forgotten the Rick Ross diss, have we yet?
I wasn't okay. Yeah, Rick Ross dissed Drake too. That was the thing that happened. You want to go into a little?
The beat was cool. Rick Ross dissed him a bit. He had like an angle of basically, I think, digging into some of Drake's insecurities. I think, or that Rick Ross sort of is implying that Drake has certain identity insecurities, and he sort of leaned into that. But that was that has been his sole contribution to this as far as music goes. But he has been sort of, what was that character on Toonami that would appear in ads between the shows?
Tom from Toonami?
Tom. He's sort of like the Tom of this Toonami right now.
He really is.
He's always got
on the next episode of Drake versus Kendrick Z.
Every time Drake drops, he'll go on IG stories and go like, "Wow, that was a dud. That fucking sucked." Anytime Kendrick drops it, you'll hear the music playing in pool parties with thousands of people behind him, and he's like, "Yeah, fuck Drake."
My favorite thing that he said this whole time is like, "We at this club right now and everyone's calling you a petty."
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Anyway, okay. So we've not reached anything too crazy yet. However, there was a little time, even since then. So it was April 19th is when Drake dropped Tailor Made, and then on April 30th, 2024. Kendrick Lamar released Euphoria, which was a 6.5 minute long diss with beat switch ups and flow switches galore. And this dude laid into Drake in a way that I hadn't seen up until this point. It was, I would say, comparable to the Pusha T diss, maybe even more hateful somehow. In that he said stuff like, "I hate the way that you walk. I hate the way that you talk. I hate basically everything about this dude." He made, basically said like, "Don't." He had a bar in it that said, "Don't say lies about me, and I won't tell truths about you." Like it was very like, although it was a full on diss track where he just like, bam, 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 this, everything made it, and it slapped in a lot of places, and it had a bunch of different producers. I also just recently learned that Johnny Giuliano was one of the producers on that. Shout out Johnny Giuliano. Yeah.
Wow.
Super cool that he did that. But like SoundClick people will get it. So basically he puts this song out, but it feels very like, still like I haven't pushed the red button yet. It feels very like I'm going to diss you harder than anybody has before. However, we're still like, don't push me because we can go more. And then it got a little quiet after that, if I remember correctly. Yep. It got quiet for a few days.
Saying it was debatable at this point still.
Yes, exactly.
Because Kendrick took so long, and people, although there were many beats, a lot of people were like, "Oh, the song's not super memorable. It didn't have like, a thing that people would come back
for sure."
to.
He had some moments in there, like he dissed basically disrespected Drake's parenting, with Adonis, says, I got a son to raise, but I can see you don't know nothing about that. And he kept like listing things that he doesn't know about.
Yeah.
He made a few little jabs about the plastic surgery stuff, about his abs, basically saying, even the ghostwriter shit, he even says like on the things like, am I battling a ghost or AI? So up until this point, it was kind of like, whatever,
Yeah.
So then May 3rd, Kendrick dropped a song called 616 in LA, which I want to point something out. So this song was produced by Soundwave and Jack Antonoff. And the reason why this is funny is because Jack Antonoff is known for working with Taylor Swift as a producer. And him working with him is kind of a jab back. It's kind of like chess moves, like a little mental chess, with him saying, Drake saying that, Taylor Swift was his new top and all this other stuff.
Right.
So it was kind of funny. But in this song, the artwork was just a glove. It looked like a Maybach glove.
Yeah.
Which this is important for the rest of this, but we don't know why there's a glove. I thought it was because of the Michael Jackson thing. The idea.
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't clear. Yeah. We just knew that also Drake owns a Maybach or few, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
It was presumed that like, oh, those were Drake's gloves, I think.
Yeah. So basically he had a bar in there saying, have you ever thought that OVO was working for me? Fake bully, I hate bullies. You must be a terrible person. Everyone inside your team is whispering that you deserve it. And there was like, up until this point, it feels like this was a very interesting, like, because I didn't know what this was going to foreshadow, but it felt like an interesting angle that everyone around you secretly hates you, to kind of like instill paranoia in Drake.
Yeah.
Which, if this wasn't leading up to what it's going to be, is still like a super like unhinged great thing to do in a rap battle.
I mean, especially when you're a king, right? Of like,
for sure.
Which means like you're at the top of whatever. Part of the heaviness of the crown is, I think, that anxiety that, people might not have your best interests at heart. Maybe people in your ranks might betray you. So yeah, as you said, just like, it's like, it seems like a sound strategy regardless of whether it's true or not at this point.
100%. And I think like that also, from the public standpoint of looking at it, it also enforces that like this is not a very likable guy. That if the people closest to Drake don't like him, then maybe you shouldn't like him too, which is an interesting angle. There's so many layers to this whole. To me, it's like what he's going for is almost better than like what he made, if that makes any sense. The idea of like the strategic, like everything's like in place for it, like to kind of paint this dude to be a very like unlikable guy. And which I guess is what you're really trying to do with a diss song. You're not just trying to out rap people.
The Weeknd is also on one of the songs on that Metro Boomin Future album dissed Drake. In fact, there's actually a bunch of people on that album, on that album that have dissed Drake. But The Weeknd at one point said that, Drake's got leaks in their operation. And also, how would have Pusha found out about Adonis if that weren't true? Also, I saw somebody at the time when Kendrick dropped that song that you're talking about, somebody did like some sort of Illuminati ass math based on like what numbers Kendrick was breaking down in his song, and somehow arrived at the end at the number 40 to sort of imply that 40 is the mole. I don't know if that's a reach. I didn't read that. I didn't sit down and look at that math and try to break it down. I just kind of looked at the beginning, looked at the end, and I was like, okay, if this is true, that seems cool.
Definitely an interesting angle either way. And I do like sometimes, like people will find things that aren't really there, but like sometimes the rapper will be like, yeah, that's what I meant. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, yeah.
But the fact that Kendrick specifically said, I fucking hate you, right? Or like that you are a horrible person. That was the moment for me where I think I realized, oh, this might not be just sport necessarily anymore. Because now it's not just like flexing on each other, or, you know what I'm saying? Trying to like imply try to outflex each other or something, or fake implication. This seems to be like, oh no, by the way, like, just so everyone is clear, you're awful. You know, you're awful, and I hope everyone knows that this is where I stand. I don't fuck with you.
I've seen a lot of people talk about this, and this is something I feel like we should talk more about towards the end, but I am going to start this conversation now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I feel like beef is fabricated, right? Like it's like, and a lot of people look at it this way. It's like, it's WWE. It's a thing to like sell records, right?
Like the 50 Cent and Kanye thing
they didn't give a fuck about it. It was competition.
No.
They might have had big egos, but I don't think that even then people didn't look at it like, oh, these guys don't like each other.
No, their teams set this up. It was good for everyone involved.
But even the ones that were set up to be like, I think a lot of the stuff like 50 Cent will talk about disses that he had with people almost like, oh, we made so much money together. You know what I mean? It feels very much like a fight, like a prize fight, you know, and they say mean stuff about each other. And I'm sure at the time they probably didn't like each other very much for whatever reason, but like it increased relevancy, right? The reason why I think that this isn't fabricated is because he's saying some pretty heavy shit, which we'll get into, about Drake. And it seems to be more of an attack on Drake as a person than him as a rapper.
Exactly.
And why would they do this? Why would both parties be okay with this if it's kind of like the other one would look at it as a smear campaign on their personality and like, hey, they don't deserve a platform, you know? This to me is as real as it's gonna get. I don't see how it can be anything like, maybe I'm a fool. Maybe I'm like the one who's like behind on this situation, but I don't see how any of this makes Drake look good.
Right.
Or that they can be like, and we make a song at the end of it. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
I just
exactly.
don't think
That's why to me, that's when it's this song was when I was like, hold on.
Yeah.
Right.
So the 6:16 a.m. comes out. And so this was on May 3rd. Then later on, May 3rd, which was Friday night, while I was streaming, Drake dropped a song called Family Matters. So he dropped a song. It was about almost 8 minutes long.
Same day response as music video.
Yeah, music video and everything with lyrics, which, by the way, I really appreciated that there was lyrics. There was like basically captions for every fucking thing. That made watching it on stream great. The foresight on that is great. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. For sure.
And the video was like them pretending to crush the car from the cover of Good Kid, Mad City.
Yes.
An album by Kendrick. But it isn't. It's not even the right make of car, just in case you were wondering.
But that's, we know that it's not it. There's a few other things too. I mean, he was wearing, he flexed Pharrell's jewelry and
melted it, right? Or whatever.
Melted it, which, by the way, he didn't actually do. He also had a G-Unit chain that was later confirmed to be made by TV Johnny, same guy who made my grill, by the way. Shout out TV Johnny.
Yeah, but he commissioned it. Yeah, it wasn't like one that he bought from 50 Cent or the one he got from 50 Cent. This is just like a sidebar, a criticism that Drake is now beginning to get more in the mainstream is him collecting hip-hop memorabilia, but him being the biggest artist that he is and him buying like certain stuff from other hip-hop legends, right, and everything. There's something that rubs people the wrong way about it because it almost feels like, like, I don't know, like I own this stuff. I'm better than I've collected all the rings. I've collected, every precious stone.
Yeah, well, there's actually a bit of this. This is actually important for the next part of this diss, but like he actually has a ring that was supposedly owned by Tupac. It was Tupac's ring, and he flexes it in the video. And he also has, all this jewelry from Pharrell that he's flexing in the video and all this other stuff. And that's important, especially the ring. I feel like the ring is a very important part for this next thing. Okay. So he dropped this, I don't know exactly what time, but so it was on May 3rd, but it was like later, in the day, at night. And he in the song, he speculates that Kendrick Lamar's wife cheated on him or significant other. I'm not sure if they're actually married. I'm not sure. But his significant other cheated on him with Dave Free, who is was or is Kendrick's manager.
I think
I'm wanting to
is.
say. Yeah, and he even speculates that maybe one of Kendrick's children is not really his child, but Dave Free's child. And he also accuses Kendrick Lamar of domestic violence on his significant other.
And as far as songs go, this one bangs.
Yeah, 100%. From a rapping standpoint, this is Drake rapping as good as Drake raps. You know, it's very
as good as his Ghost Rider's right.
Yeah, for sure. It's 50 minutes. We're going way over. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. So all right. So basically he comes out, it's good. It's good. It's a great diss song. I liked it. I thought it was like, when I heard it, I was like, damn, like, you know, Drake's going in. You know, oh yeah, he has a bunch of other stuff in here too. He is attacking Kendrick, saying, "You the Black Messiah, wifing up a mixed queen, and all the vanilla cream to help you out with your self-esteem." Basically saying that.
How can you hate on me for being biracial when you are dating a biracial person? You are with a biracial person. Sorry,
yeah. So he even had a bar at the end says, "When you put hands on your girl, is it self-defense because she's bigger than you?" So more emasculating, but also saying that, you know, he allegedly hit his girl, which is, you know, I haven't actually seen any proof of any of this, but I know that, like, you know, I don't know everything. But to me, it does seem a little bit like maybe he's kind of grasping at straws.
It is a very damning allegation. For sure. Especially you guys got to remember like a few things here that need to be noted. First of all, Drake is employing this cynically. His history shows that he doesn't give a shit about this stuff. Of course he doesn't. Not actually. But he's pretending to give a shit because he knows for someone like, if Drake did that, we'd be like, what a scumbag. But that's Drake. If Kendrick did that, would be like, wow, what a hypocrite. Because people who claim to be good or want to do good are always held to a way higher standard than pieces of shit, you know? People are always scouring for hypocrisies. And so Drake's angle was like, well, okay, not only are you barely a man, you little manlet, you know, there's also this. You know, like you are a hypocrite, which would be the biggest charge for Kendrick. You know, if like we found out that Kendrick was an abusive partner, that would certainly shatter a lot of our understanding of who he is. We would all be, I think, collectively disillusioned with things like To Pimp a Butterfly and Mr. Morale, you know? So, sorry, just wanted to interject to add that.
Well, the thing that's interesting, too, is that in Euphoria, Kendrick alludes to Drake having been I wouldn't say like straight up said he's a pedophile, but definitely said something about him liking him young or something, kind of like a little stab at like, hey, I know this thing, but I'm not going to say the whole thing. It was either that or 6:16 a.m. But at this point, he's like kind of loosely alluded to this, but it doesn't seem like something that's going to be a big talking point, or at least yet, you know? So it was a little interesting to me that Drake would just be like, hey, we're going to accuse you of domestic violence right now. Because it doesn't seem like it's kind of really going there at this point, like fully. So I think Drake wanted to have his moment of like, well, you know what? Look at you, you know, which was possibly the worst thing that he could have done, I think, because just a few hours later, Kendrick Lamar, what happened?
Not even a few hours later, within an hour.
Oh, was it within the hour? Okay, so
within the hour.
Within the hour of Drake dropping his song, Kendrick Lamar released a song called Meet the Grams. And I'm not going to pull any punches here. I'm just going to say it. In my humble opinion, this is the best diss track of all time. This is a fucked up, insane, like when I heard this shit, I thought about it for 3 days. Like we're here right now. I've thought about it until today. This is where I'm at. This has changed my life for the last few days. Okay.
It was crazy because up until now, I don't think we've heard diss records in this tone and this presentation. First things first, produced by The Alchemist. That's
Yeah,
a big thing because Alchemist, legend, but also someone who's worked with Drake before. So that is sort of like, in my eyes, this is burning a bridge. You know what I'm saying? This is like publicly burning a
absolutely.
bridge.
Especially with someone like Drake, because it seems like his track record has always pointed him in the direction of, if you do something that would slightly upset him, that most people would be like, no big deal. He seems to be the kind of guy who like cuts you out of his life and like says sideways shit about people, about you to people. This is the thing that's happened with like The Weeknd. This has happened with ASAP Rocky. This has happened with a lot of people. Like there's a whole list of people that fucking hate Drake based off of him being kind of shitty to them after he wasn't number one on their list of thoughts. You know, kind of narcissistic behavior would seem to be the general vibe I'm getting here. You know, I don't know the guy, but it would seem that he has a track record of doing that. So Alchemist being involved at all probably means that he's never going to do a song with Drake again, you know? So, you know, that's just,
And there were so many things. There's so many layers to the song to unpack. So we're only going to unpack a few on this episode, and then the rest of it on this week's Behind the Paywall portion instead. So if you guys want to hear the rest of our thoughts on this beef, then please consider subscribing to our Patreon for $5.
yeah. Or $20 if you're feeling crazy. So,
So I did want to add a few things before we go to the other portion. I do think what was cool was that the song was very somber, which is just like not something that happens usually in beef songs. You know, usually there's aggression or there's some sort of like, oh, this is too easy, I'm not even trying kind of energy, too cool for school. There's this kind of stuff. Kendrick sounded like he was on the verge of tears almost, you know, sitting there and kind of like talking to the individuals that he addresses on the song. On the first verse, I hope I'm not jumping ahead of here, by the way, Bill.
well, no, I mean, I did want to talk about the cover a little bit, but I think we can get into the song.
Yes, of course.
Well, before we get straight into the song, this won't take very long. Okay. The cover to the song is something that is very, very interesting to me. Basically, let me see if I can find the cover really quick.
Oh, the zoomed out photo of the glove. So we got we get a bigger version of that photo. Turns out that the glove photo from an earlier disc cover was merely a crop of a larger picture.
Yes. And in that picture, let me see here, there's a bunch of things laid out. So there is the Maybach glove. There are two receipts, and there are some pills, and there is, looks like other pills, you know, other things from a pharmacy on the bottom right corner.
It was basically implied that the receipts were for the rings and the medicine is Ozempic, right?
Yeah, there's Ozempic, and there's also Zolpidem, which is it's basically Ambien. It's like part of why that's a little bit probably more disturbing for a lot of people is that it's also used as a like a date drug. Apparently, we can cut that word out if we want to. I don't know how to say that. Zolpidem is, and so there's a part of that people have speculated that is why he included it in it. But yeah, the Ozempic is, you know, a weight loss pill.
It's the one that I taught y'all about on one of the
I didn't know it
existed
until until you said something. Let's see here. But yeah, there's a thing from Popular Jewelry Corp, which it basically implies that he bought the ring. But it also implies that now there is a mole that is working with Kendrick in OVO.
Yeah, was this photo taken at the embassy, which is what Drake's home is referred to as?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't clear. It was then later claimed that was, I think that was obtained from Drake's father's luggage or something like that. And then Drake, I think, later claimed that that was planted evidence. And when Kendrick's song went up on DSPs, it had no cover, which some people took as confirmation that that was fabricated, and Kendrick basically removed the cover because it no longer quite really worked in the way that it was supposed to. Others speculate it's because it's got like, Drake's legal name and certain information. That doesn't make any sense to me because he's a public figure. I don't think that's how it works. Do I believe that it might have been some of that stuff is fake or not real? Maybe. I don't know. But at the time when it just came out, for sure, it was like, oh shit, this is the ultimate chess move. Kendrick knew he was going to release this because this is the same glove. And it looks like the same photo, just like zoomed out, And it's called Meet the Grams. And he's talking to Drake's family members. Just within the hour after Drake put out Family Matters, which made everyone also think, holy shit, there is a mole. This is a direct response immediately. Kendrick already had the song, probably uploaded to YouTube, just waiting to unlist it at the opportune moment because he knew what Drake was going to say. And so he put that song out, and yeah, let's continue this conversation on Patreon. Let's break that song down and resume with the rest of the conflict.
And this is where things get really super spicy. So now y'all have to do it. Y'all have to go subscribe to the Patreon, or else you'll never hear our words about this. I don't know.
Our thoughts, you'll never know. You'll never know.
You'll never know what we think. Is that it then? Are we done? Are we stopping for now?
Maybe. Yeah. Bye.
See you on Patreon, hopefully.
The following is a preview of this week's Patreon exclusive episode. Available now over on the Void FM podcast Patreon.
This bonus episode is almost 2 hours long.
It really went from like a 7 to like a 16.
Part of the reason why I think that it makes for such an incredible and possibly one of the best diss songs ever is because it makes for a great standalone song as well.
As soon as I heard him hitting the like LeBron, keep the family away. If you're next to him, you look like one of them too.
And again, this song is somber. This is not like a boom, boom, motherfucker, what? It feels like we're at the funeral.